Mike Tyson walked into prison weighing nearly 285 pounds, carrying not just physical weight, but the burden of fame, controversy, and a life spiraling out of control. Yet he walked out 3 years later at a shredded 215 pounds, lean, explosive, powerful, and capable of knocking someone out in just 89 seconds. Inside, he had no gym, no fancy machines, no trainers pushing him forward. All he had was a cold concrete cell, a worn-out deck of cards, and one of the most brutal and disciplined bodyweight routines ever created. A system he used to rebuild not only his physique, but his mind and spirit. What shocks most people is that Tyson has often said those 3 years behind bars were the best years of his life. In that isolation, he found structure, humility, and a level of focus he had lost in the chaos of the outside world. Prison stripped away everything, but in that emptiness, he rebuilt himself, stronger, sharper, and hungrier than ever. I had the best 3 years of my life in prison. When Mike Tyson said those words, the world was stunned. How could the most feared boxer on the planet call prison the best years of his life? From 1992 to 1995, Tyson was locked away at Indiana State Prison, cut off from the spotlight, the crowds, and the chaos that had consumed his career. Most experts believed that was it. His downfall was complete. Reporters wrote him off. Fans assumed he would never return to the ring with the same fire. But less than 1 year after his release, Tyson silenced everyone. He came back and reclaimed the WBC Heavyweight Championship, proving that his time behind bars had forged a stronger, more disciplined version of himself. So what exactly happened inside that tiny cell? How did he transform prison time into the most productive training camp of his entire life? Here's what Tyson did every single day for 3 years. The morning punishment. Every morning, without fail, Tyson laced up his shoes and ran 8 to 11 miles around the prison yard. Rain pouring down, summer heat burning, freezing winter winds cutting through the air. It didn't matter. He refused to skip a single day. Those runs became his meditation, his therapy, and the foundation of his rebirth. But the true transformation didn't happen outside. It happened inside his cell, long after the yard went quiet. Picture this: an 8 by 10 foot concrete box, barely enough room to turn around. No equipment, no heavy bags, no sparring partners. Just a bed, a toilet, and Mike Tyson's iron will. In that cramped space, he built a training system so intense, so unforgiving, that even elite athletes today struggle to replicate it. Most people would break inside a cell like that. The silence, the isolation, the monotony, it destroys men from the inside out. But Tyson wasn't like most people. While the rest of the prison slept, he came alive. Every night, long after lights out, he turned that tiny concrete box into his personal war room. He ran in place until sweat pulled at his feet. He jumped, twisted, and moved nonstop for nearly 4 hours straight, a one-man storm of noise, breathing, and determination echoing off the walls. And remember, he didn't start this journey at fighting weight. He walked into prison at 285 pounds, built like a refrigerator trying to do jumping jacks for hours. But he didn't care. He pushed, strained, and punished his body until it obeyed him again. The intensity was so extreme that guards later said he literally left dents in the concrete floor of his cell. That's how violently he trained. That's how much force he generated in a space barely big enough to stretch his arms. While others slept, Tyson rebuilt himself, punch by punch, rep by rep, night after night. And that was only the cardio, the warm-up to his real punishment. The muscle-building phase came from brutal bodyweight circuits he performed throughout the day. People still debate whether the stories are exaggerated because the results he achieved seem almost impossible without weights or equipment. But what they forget is that Tyson has something few athletes ever experience in their prime: time. Not an hour between meetings, not a quick session squeezed between interviews, but 16 uninterrupted hours every single day. Nothing to do except train, eat, and sleep. No distractions, no phone, no entourage, no nightlife. Just discipline, walls, and the relentless ticking of a clock. Tyson turned that forced isolation into an elite training environment. While the outside world assumed he was rotting away, he was sculpting a frame of steel inside one of the harshest places on earth. With nothing but gravity, repetition, and obsession, he rebuilt his body rep by rep, circuit by circuit, day after day. He built a routine so extreme that even modern athletes shake their heads at it. 10 full circuits every single day, each one targeting a different part of his body: legs, chest, core, arms, even his neck, the foundation of every knockout punch. And the craziest part is, he built all of that muscle, all of that explosive power without touching a single weight. Each circuit lasted for 20 to 30 minutes of nonstop movement. For most people, one circuit would be a great workout. 10 circuits? That's more training volume than the average person does in an entire week, compressed into a single day.
But Tyson had a problem. High-rep training makes you lose count. And when you're doing hundreds upon hundreds of reps, the last thing you want is to restart because you forgot the number. So, he invented a simple, ingenious system using a deck of 10 playing cards. He shuffled the cards, placed them in a small pile, and flipped them one by one. Each card told him how many reps to do. No thinking, no counting, no distractions. By the time he reached the last card, he had completed exactly 100 squats, fueled not by numbers, but by pure discipline. Tyson's simple deck of cards hack didn't stay inside his cell for long. The method began spreading from inmate to inmate, prison to prison, eventually reaching fighters, wrestlers, football players, and coaches across the country. What started as a solution for boredom in an 8x10 concrete box became a legendary training system adopted by athletes hungry for discipline and results. How Tyson's 10-card method actually works. It's brutally simple. Lay 10 cards on the floor in a straight line. Any cards, any values. The numbers don't matter, the suits don't matter. The only rule is this: every time you pick up a card or place one down, you must perform a squat. Move from card to card, picking up and dropping cards according to Tyson's system, and by the time you reach the 10th card, you've completed exactly 100 squats without ever counting a single rep. The cards do the thinking, your body does the suffering. For Tyson, this wasn't a trick. It was structure. A way to force precision and keep a relentless rhythm day after day after day without losing focus. And here's where the routine becomes almost unbelievable, until you remember who we're talking about. Per circuit, 10 circuits per day, 200 squats per circuit, 2,000 per day, 500 push-ups per circuit, 500 per day, 250 sit-ups per circuit, 2,500 per day, 50 dips per circuit, using the still edge of his bed frame, 500 per day. These weren't estimates or occasional workouts. These were daily numbers. His non-negotiables, his prison commandments. Daily total. Every single day for 3 years. 2,000 squats, 500 push-ups, 2,500 sit-ups, 500 dips. No rest days, no excuses, just sweat, discipline, and concrete. Over the course of 3 years, Tyson didn't just train, he rebuilt himself, piece by piece, rep by rep, until his body looked like it had been carved out of iron. But here's the part that actually matters for you. You're not in prison. You have a life, a job, family responsibilities, deadlines, stress, bills, everything Tyson didn't have behind bars. You don't have 16 empty hours to train. You don't need to grind through 10 circuits a day. But you can use the system, the simplicity, the progression, the discipline. That's the real gift Tyson left behind. If you're a beginner, start small, start smart. Use 5 cards. That's 25 squats total. Do this 3 times per week. After a month, add 1 more card. Every 4 to 6 weeks, add another. In 6 months, almost without noticing it, you'll reach all 10 cards, automatically working your way up to 100 squats per session. Slow, sustainable progress, just the way real strength is built.
If you're intermediate, start with all 10 cards, but only 1 round. That's 100 squats, enough to challenge most people. Do it 3 to 4 times per week. When it starts feeling routine, add a second round. When 2 rounds feel smooth, add a third. You don't need Tyson's volume, you just need his consistency. Now let's talk about the muscle that made Tyson look terrifying, his neck. Most people ignore the neck. Tyson treated it like armor. The average man has a 15-inch neck. Tyson's measured 20 to 22 inches, thicker than many people's thighs, a power column of muscle designed to absorb impact, stabilize his head, and keep him from getting knocked out. In boxing, a strong neck is as important as fast hands. Tyson trained it with 2 brutally effective movements. Wrestler bridges, 30 minutes a day. Neck curls, 50 reps per circuit, 500 per day. These exercises made him nearly impossible to snap back with a punch. His head simply didn't whip the way most fighters' heads do. And remember, Tyson didn't start this in prison. The roots of his discipline go back to the 1980s under the legendary guidance of Cus D'Amato and trainer Kevin Rooney. His daily routine back then was insane. Wake up at 4 a.m., run miles before sunrise, do 500 push-ups and 500 sit-ups, spar 10 to 12 rounds at noon, train technique for hours until night. Cus wasn't just building a fighter, he was building a weapon. He even used hypnosis sessions to sharpen Tyson's mind, erase fear, and implant unstoppable confidence. During those sessions, Tyson repeated affirmations like, "You're a machine, Mike, the greatest fighter God ever made." That's what Cus D'Amato whispered into Tyson's mind during hypnosis sessions, drilling confidence, aggression, focus, and total belief into him long before the world ever called him Iron Mike. The fuel behind the machine. Even Tyson's diet reflected his discipline. Outside prison, he ate like a true high-performance athlete, high protein, clean carbs, and simple foods to keep his body powerful and explosive. But inside prison, things were different. Tyson avoided anything questionable. He didn't trust the kitchen, didn't trust open trays, didn't trust other inmates handling food. So he lived mostly on canned tuna, not because it was gourmet or nutritious, but because the can was sealed. It was safe, predictable, controlled, just like his routine. So what should you do now? You don't need Tyson's genetics or his prison schedule. You just need a starting point and consistency. 1. Start small. If you're new, 5 cards, 25 squats. If you've trained before,
10 cards, 100 squats. Do it 3 times per week. That's it. 2. After 1 month, add push-ups, sit-ups, and dips, but at lower reps. Build the habit before you build the volume. On rest days, don't be idle. Walk or jog lightly for 15 to 30 minutes. Recovery is part of the system. Every 4 to 6 weeks, increase only one of these. More reps, 1 extra card, 1 more weekly session. Just one. Slow progress is sustainable progress. Add neck training later. Your neck is fragile. Wait 3 full months before adding bridges or curls. Strength first, stability second, intensity last. And here's the final truth. None of this works without the one thing Tyson mastered inside that tiny concrete cell: discipline. The ability to show up when you're tired, to work when you don't want to stay consistent when no one is watching. That's what turned Mike Tyson from a troubled kid into a world champion. Twice. And that same discipline, scaled to your life, can change everything for you too.